Hi guys, welcome back to the PS Love Yourself podcast with Maya.
And Maya.
Grab yourself a coffee or a cocktail and have a seat because it's about to get real.
Or lay down this time with us.
Yeah.
We got a little bit cozy.
We pulled out the pull-out bed.
Because we're having a real talk today.
We have our pillows,
blankets. And have you guys noticed? It's a little bit pink in here. I wonder why.
It's pink in here today.
I wonder why. Bum bum bum.
It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes, the whole month of October. It's about breast cancer awareness, support. I know they do marathons in Chicago.
Yep.
Or probably anywhere else, honestly, too. So it's just all about supporting and being there for your loved ones or
and
for the people.
Pink.
Just supporting anyone. And wearing pink.
Yep.
And wearing ribbons. So we just kind of want to talk about the topic because, it means a little bit more this time than it usually does around October. As you guys heard from the previous podcast, Maya and the family of this loved one, Maya and the family of Grace, she has recently passed in December, is it? Mm-hmm. And this is the first year where she's not here with us. So we kind of just want to give her a tribute and kind of talk about awareness and breast cancer because it is a very serious topic that I don't see too much on. Like, yeah, there's commercials, but is that all we're doing? I feel like it should be more talked about and like how to how to go through it and like how to have patience with it because it's a lot, I work with breast cancer patients a lot, and so it's very hard, especially like the ones I have to translate in because I speak Polish, so I have to sometimes go in the room and tell them they have breast cancer, and that breaks my heart. Like literally I tell them in Polish they have breast cancer, they're crying in the room, and then after I leave the room I go cry because it's so hard, but luckily everything I see through, they all fought through it, so like it's very, very like so warming that like they passed through that and they beat it. But there's some that are terminal and it's so hard, and that's something that like should be talked about more because no one knows how to lose a person until it happens.
Yeah.
So I never lost anyone from cancer, but I did lose people in my life, and everyone takes grief differently. But with breast cancer, or any type of cancers, but since we're talking about breast cancer awareness and breast cancer, it's just very hard because cancer is a hard battle. Right now there's no cure for it, which I bet there is. They just don't want to bring it out. But anyways.
It's for another day.
We went scientific. But I just really think that grieving is different for everybody, and it's just hard, and I don't know. I just work with breast cancer patients, so it's a little bit different for me because I especially give extra love to them. I know,
seeing it and giving the news, and seeing that they have breast cancer.
I see it first before they do.
Yeah,
that hurts me so much, and I know that's part of the job. So yes, I do it, but it's just so heartbreaking. But I hope everyone who does have to go through this has a great support system because that's what really drives you.
I think it's the support system. If you need that fighting, and what I've experienced the last year of seeing it so closely is if you don't have a support system, your chances of fighting are so low because you're weak. It's no joke, just like any cancer that anybody has, but it takes a lot on you, especially if you are going through chemo or you're going through radiation, and most of the time these patients or these people, your loved ones, your family members, they want to give up because they're so tired, but they have so many good people in their corner that are also fighting with them. And I know somebody now who just got diagnosed with breast cancer, and she just went into stage 2, but she has an army of people, fighting behind her. So, it's just amazing what you can do with having a support system. Keeping your support system, if you're going through something like this now and you don't have a support system, I will say reach out because
we will
fight for you.
Yes.
I will fight for anybody who has breast cancer, has any cancer, who needs somebody in their corner, because that's very important. You need that support and you need that push because going through this alone, it's tiring. and it's like mentally
It's
and physically
gruesome.
draining.
Yeah, it's something that I don't think no person should go through, even if it's not cancer, if it's a two, whatever you have going on, just a support system in general, you need it because it's one of the most loneliest and the hardest battles God will ever put you through. And if you just don't have it, it's gonna make some people can't push through that through because no one's pushing them. So they
Yeah,
lose
it's
the
just
battle, and
easier to
that's
give up.
so sad to say.
Yeah.
And I don't wish that upon anyone. But like what she said, like if you are alone, no matter what's going on with you, no matter what's happening, please reach out because we will be there. If you are in Hawaii, still reach out because we will be there for you. You know?
We want to support in any way we can, and honestly we wish we can do more than just put like our podcast out, but since we're just like really kind of starting, we don't have like much else we can give. Like,
Yeah,
we talked about like fundraisers and all of that, but
yeah.
like it's just hard to like
There's so
push
much. There's
that.
so much a person can do too with little funds like us. But we're still trying,
But
we
we
tried to
still
make the
offer what
effort.
we can.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to mention my like kind of somewhat experience with cancer patients and just what so like that. But I do want to have this more podcast more of like a tribute to Grace and her family and everything that they've been through and all that. So let's gonna go ahead and transition over to Maya and everything that she has to say and like kind of my intake on it. Cause like I said, I met Grace once, twice, and she was the light of everyone's life, honestly. But so we're gonna kind of do a little tribute to Grace. So, yeah. But before we do that, show them the blanket.
I got this beautiful, beautiful blanket from the kindest soul I've ever met. So I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna have you hold my mic.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they can see. I'm gonna hold it over my head, so
Yeah.
you're not gonna see me for a second. You can explain the blanket.
So basically, this is all pictures that Maya had in her camera roll of Grace, like screenshots, whatever she said to her. It's literally just like Maya's favorite memories that with her and Grace, and I think it's honestly one of the most beautiful gifts
That I've ever
that we've
gotten.
ever gotten.
That
I
I've
think
ever.
this doesn't top anything.
Yeah, yeah. It says "Love You Forever," and it has my favorite photos that we have together. Um, this was us last Christmas, or not last Christmas, the Christmas before. Sorry. Yeah. So I have some messages on there that were like my favorite messages that she sent me. So yeah, it was a beautiful gift, and I bawled my eyes out.
Oh yeah, when
I received it.
when she showed me, I almost started crying too. I was like, oh, okay, this is how it's gonna be. But I think we should transition into more of a tribute to her. Like, can you tell me who Grace was as a person?
So Grace was, and bear with me because I will start crying.
Wait, we should have tissues.
I'm sure that I will cry. So Grace was the type of person who just, like she said, lit up your life. Like any room that she walked into, it was immediately brightened. Any person that she met, sorry, you were like impacted right away. I mean,
yeah.
you could meet Grace for 5 minutes and you were just impacted of her, just how she was, how she carried herself, her energy, her presence, like the way that she cared and the way that she just, I mean, this girl, like you would have never known that she had cancer. You would have because she told everybody. She told you right away.
But like she always found like the good things in life, no matter how bad it was.
Joy in life, yes, no matter what was going on, and she fought for a long time, very very hard, and she beat it the first time, and unfortunately, it came back, and it came back worse. And the last year of her life, like when I was with her, I mean, like still she was doing everything she wanted. She was going to the Y, she was working out, she was taking classes, she was tanning, she was having, literally just celebrating her life every single day, and every moment and every time she woke up, it was just a blessing to her. And even if she had times where she was so sick and so whatever, like she would still be there for you. Like there's many times I would go over and she would be so sick and she couldn't get off the couch or she couldn't get out of her bed, and I would come over and I would come and see her, and she would get up and she would always give me a hug, and she would always be so excited that I was there. And I'm like, please don't get up, like you're sick, like let me get you something. She's like, no, like let me get you something, like, and we would just laugh. And like the first time I met Grace, I slept over at my friend's house and she had to go to work in the morning, and I had to be alone with her mom. So I'm like, I'm scared to be alone with your mom. But I wake up and I go upstairs and it's only her there. And she yells from the living room. I come out and she's like, "Good morning, sunshine." And then I'm like, "Good morning," because I didn't know her. I just met her the night before for like 20 minutes because I got there real late and we went to bed. And I didn't, and she just welcomed me with open arms like nobody I've ever met. And that's just really how her family is. And that's how she raised her kids to be. And even like, her husband. And I mean, we sat there and we talked and we clicked like I have known her for my entire life. Like we talked like we were best friends. I mean, we talked about everything, our childhoods, our things we were going through now, like everything under the sun we talked about.
Yeah.
We went and got our nails done the same day. Like she just brought so much joy to my life in that first moment of meeting her, more than anybody that I've ever known. And Grace is the type of person who makes you feel like home,
Yeah.
and a lot of people say home is a feeling, not a place, and that's her. Like she is like what that feeling would be. And I mean, I think my favorite thing about her is like how excited she was every time to see me. And I've never had anybody be so excited when I would come in, and like I would walk in and just like every time, it was just like her open arms, and she would just scream my name and she'd be so excited that I was there. And she never missed the chance to see me, like ever. She would call me and she would text me, and she'd call me Maya girl, and she's like,
Yeah.
Maya girl, when are you coming over? When are you gonna come love on me? When are you gonna come see me? Like, when can I see my best friend?
Yeah.
And sometimes I couldn't get there just because of work or just because I was tired and I canceled and couldn't go. And like, it's still hard not being able to forgive yourself for not showing up for those people, because it ended so fast.
But always cherish the moments you have.
Yeah.
Don't live in regret.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean,
It's
it's easier
always gonna
said
be
than
hard.
done, And I mean, I have gone, like, she passed, December 15th, and I have thought about her every day. There wasn't a day that goes by where I don't think about her. And I mean, I think it did get a little bit easier for me. Like, I've had a lot of bad days, and I still do. I mean, her family, though, my heart aches for them. They are still going through it as they should be. It hasn't even hit a year yet, but I just wish that there was more people like Grace in this world. Like, and I strived every day to be the way that she was, and sometimes I just can't. I don't know how she had the energy every day and how she was just the way that she is, but I mean, she is literally the best person I've ever met in my life, and the way that she loves you is like love you've never felt before in your life. True. And she will take you in, and she will love you like you're her own kid, or like you're her best friend, or whatever. I mean, that girl loved like no other, and she loved so hard, and her love just radiates to everyone. Like she loves her kids. Like she would do anything for her kids, like any mother would. But I mean it's crazy, and she loved me like one of her own. And that love that I experienced, it was just so different. And I don't want to say like, I don't want to say that I haven't felt that love from like my own parents, like of course, but I think it was just like,
it's like a best friend parent love.
It was like a best friend parent love, and it was just somebody who, like, I don't know, like she had my back. And that's one thing too, like she would have anybody's back. Like she had your back and she would be in your corner, and like you knew if like Grace was in your corner, like you were good. Like you didn't need anybody else if you had her. But she was beautiful. I mean, she is beautiful, and like just sweet and kind.
Can I talk about Mike's first experience with her?
Yeah.
it was very, I went over one day. Maya was like, "Hey, you want to have like a pool party and go out?" And I was like, "Yeah, where to?" She's like, "Across the state."
I'm like, we're
And I
going
was
to
like,
Indiana.
yeah, I was like, okay. So obviously, I've never been there before, never been to the family's house. So we're driving there, and I was just having so much anxiety. I was like, oh, like I just get nervous at like meeting new people, staying at people's house. That's just who I am as a person. We pull up, and I'm like shaking. I'm like, oh, I'm nervous, but I was like, I'm gonna keep my calm. The minute I walked in, I don't know what time it was, but I remember walking in, and I just felt comfort. Like
Yeah,
it,
you do. You
she
just
wasn't,
feel
she
at home.
wasn't like in the living room. I think she was downstairs or something. But I just felt the comfort, and I felt the warmth and the love in that house. I was like, oh, okay, like that
You
makes me feel
just
good.
feel grace,
Yeah. So
you
then we
know?
just went out that night, but then the next day we had a little like pool day. So that's when I like officially like talked to her, and I just remember like her always being there. She didn't even know who I was. Like I'm just a
Yeah.
random girl that slept over,
Yeah.
but like she made me feel so welcomed and like she didn't feel like I could talk to her about anything, which I did. Like I just said random
Yeah.
things to her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like she makes you feel like literally like you're at home. Like you can just open up to her and you can say whatever it is, whether you're in the right or you're in the wrong, or if you think you made a mistake or whatever it is. Like I mean, she will tell you how it is too. Like I would not
Yeah.
get it twisted. Like she has sat there many times with me and has been very honest and very blunt and is like, I just have to tell you how it is. And I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But she also is just very loving. And I mean, there's been many times like I would be at her house, just like did not feel good. And she's fighting stage 4 cancer and, you know,
And she took care
not
of
beating it.
you.
And she's taking care of me, you know? And I'm like, like, let me take care of you. And she's like, no. She's like, let me baby you. And she did. And she always did. I mean, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
Grieving, I mean, it's hard. She was just like I can really go on and on, but like she was just the light of everyone's
I
life and it's
yeah,
hard.
no, I like I said, I only met her once and the day of her funeral,
She
like
did
I
go to
said,
her
I
funeral.
went to her funeral, and I think that's one of the worst days of my life.
It's the
And
worst day
I
of my
only
life.
like knew her once, but I remember like after the funeral, I texted my boyfriend, and I was like, I can. I remember texting my boyfriend, and I was like, "This is the worst day ever," and I think he like felt it through the phone. I was like, "I am so sorry." Like I only met her once.
Well, that's
I'm
why
laughing.
this is
I
this
only
is
met
what
her
I'm saying.
once.
Like the impact that she left on people,
We
just
need
like
tissues.
yeah, we do. The impact she left on people is just like this example. I mean, I met her one time, and like the impact she left on her was so strong and so
No, but she's a beautiful
beautiful.
person.
Yeah,
From my
inside and
name.
out, inside and out.
Yeah.
The week that she was passing, um, I mean, her funeral was the hardest day in my life,
Oh yeah.
but the week that she was passing was the hardest thing that I have ever went through. And
Oh yeah. I
like I
can't even
said,
imagine
like
that.
I said before, and whatever, I think our first episode or second, I have experienced family death, and went to funerals, but I have never been there since their last breath. And that week, I mean, it was a blur.
Yeah.
Like I just remember showing up, and when I walked into her hospital bed, she was already in a coma. And I mean, I let me start over. I got the phone call from her daughter that she was in a coma, that I needed to come to the hospital with her. The drive there,
Ooh.
I was blacked out. I don't remember
Yeah.
the drive to the hospital. I have
Oh
no idea. It was an hour and a half. I don't remember. I walk into her room, and she was in a coma, and she's hooked up to all this stuff and have a tube down her throat. And looked at her, and I immediately had to turn around and walk out. And I
yeah. I
broke
wouldn't be
down and I
able.
said, I can't stay in here. And then I just couldn't breathe. And I walked out, and then I got myself back together, and I went back in. And every day that week, um, I stayed by her bedside, and I talked to her and told her the things I needed to say before the last time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. I literally checked her location. She was there every single day,
every
every
day.
hour. literally like you were there every single day.
Yeah. And I
And
was there, her family is just very, I mean, her family's my family now. And um, I was there for the support of them, obviously, but, more for myself also, and like just wanting to be there. And Grace told me, like, it was honestly, it was kind of fate that I met them, and it was
yeah.
very weird. Like, we don't, I mean, me and Serena live an hour away from each other in different states. Like,
Literally.
there was no reason for us to have met, but we did, and we met at the perfect time, and I got to know their family and got to be super close, and then I got to be here after the fact and help them heal.
Okay, so like how did the aftermath like from everything that happened like feel for you? Like how did you take it?
So after she passed, I took it very, very hard. Like, I was very depressed and obviously very sad. And I mean, it just hit me harder than anybody like else who has passed ever hit me. And I think it's just because we had a different relationship. And I mean, also too, going, in the hospital for a week and seeing somebody you love so much like pass
Mhm.
until literally their last day does take such a mental
Yeah,
toll on you,
100%.
And I don't think people really understand that unless they go through it. And I remember it was a few weeks, or probably, yeah, a little over a month before Grace passed. We were sitting on our porch talking like we always did. We always, when we were home by ourselves, we'd sit on the porch, we would read our books. Like, we would just read in silence next to each other. We would have a mimosa. Like, it was just our thing. Or coffee, whatever, usually a mimosa. And she told me, she like looked at me and she's like, Maya, just promise me that you would take care of my family after I'm gone. And I was like,
Oh,
don't talk like that. And she was like, I just want them to be okay. And she was like, and I just please be there for them, And she was like, they adore you, like we all adore you. And I think that, you can really help them in the healing process. And I obviously cried and I told her I will keep that promise until the day that I die. And I mean, I will always show up for them, you know
100%.
and it kills me. Like, I asked her so much. Like, we talked about a lot, like her death and all of that. And I asked her, like, are you scared of dying? She told me she's not scared of dying. She's scared of leaving her family
Oh,
behind. And like, it's
that's
it's
real.
a sad thing. And she was just so it she just didn't deserve it. And I think the day that she passed, the world got a little less bright. And
100%.
ever since that day, it has felt that. It has not felt bright. And I think, like, a part of this podcast, like, that's what we're trying to bring back, is like this light that we want in our lives. And not even because of Grace. I mean, yes, for me, but like, more of just like, what's the little things in life that we can start appreciating,
Yeah.
because you only have so much time left. And I mean, my chest fucking hurts. Um,
Well, I know I had from the funeral, they gave like her face card and everything.
yeah,
I put it on my dresser, and I'm not kidding, every morning, Maya, like no matter what day it is, every single morning, I look at that card and I give a kiss, and then like just go about my day.
yeah, I
And I
love
have
that.
like breast cancer little pins at my like office desk and stuff, but like she said, she was literally one of the happiest people I've ever met, and she had stage 4 cancer, and she was the
The
happiest
happiest
person
person
I've
you'd
ever
ever met.
met. And clearly she made a huge impact. Met her
I
once and I'm
remember,
bawling my
I
eyes
remember
out.
going through her chemo days, like, and I would bring her to the hospital. And we would do like chemo, and one time we were leaving the hospital, and she couldn't drive after she like, got chemo, right? So I'm like driving her, and she would be a little loopy. And we're in the parking garage, and we couldn't find our car. So first of all, one thing about me and Grace, we have no sense of direction. So I don't know why we were ever left alone. And we walked around this parking garage, I swear to God, 30 minutes. Like, we had no idea where our car was. No
Oh my
clue.
god.
Then a car comes swinging around the corner, and she's on this side where it like swung around, and I screamed, "She has cancer! Can you slow down?" And like Grace laughed so hard. Like we use that for everything, and she would let us. We'd be like, I mean, Serena would be like, "Our mom has cancer," to like everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, she used it too. She used her cancer to her advantage.
She used her cancer card, but
Yeah.
she has the right to.
She has the right to. She would let us use her cancer card too. Yeah, her funeral was hard. I spoke at her funeral.
You don't know this, but when you spoke, I had to like turn around. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I
was the first one up there.
Yeah. And you didn't cry like until afterwards.
Yeah, I kept it together. There were so many people there.
God,
I mean, the funeral home, they gave us one room, and we told them, we said, we're gonna have to open the other side, and they're like, "Oh, well, if we need to, we will." And I said, "No, like we have to open the other side." It was so crazy. There's people outside, like we just couldn't fit everybody in there.
I remember like anyone was able to go up and speak. I remember this one younger boy, he went up to speak, and he's like, "I don't even know her, but I'm speaking because I feel like I had to." Yeah, and that touched my heart. I was like, "Oh my God."
There was so many people who like known her because like of friends or of like, you know, distant family or whatever it was, and like she just touched so many people, and for her to leave this world was the saddest thing that's ever happened. Like it just wasn't deserved. No. And we obviously don't know God's plan, and that's what I keep trying to remind myself. I mean, maybe it happened for a reason. Maybe it saved her from some more pain or suffering. I don't know, whatever.
Oh, I just noticed this, guys. She has a little bracelet.
This is actually Grace's bracelet.
Oh my God. And I'm gonna start crying again.
And she wore it for a long time, and after she passed, I put it on, and I haven't taken it off since December 15th.
That's so cute. I didn't even notice that.
I will miss her for the rest of my life, and I will thank her for the rest of my life. I thank her every single day. And I thank God for her every single day, for meeting her. And I think I have comfort now in knowing that she's watching over me, which is nice. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap this one up. In case you forgot, I'm Maya.
And I'm Maya.
Thank you for watching.
And thank you for listening and for being here.
This is
P.S. Love yourself.
Bye.